Have you ever gotten a blood test report back and just stared at it? All those acronyms and numbers, it can feel like you're trying to read some kind of secret code. Well, today we're cracking that code. We're going to demystify one of the most common, most important medical tests out there, the complete blood count, or CBC.
I mean, think about it, right? You've got a fever, you're feeling exhausted, you might have an infection, and what's the first thing the doctor almost always says? Let's get a CBC. So why is this test the universal first step? What makes it so powerful? That's exactly what we're about to find out.
Okay, so first things first. A CBC is not just one test. That's a huge misconception. It's actually a whole panel, a group of tests all bundled together. Think of it like a general inspection for your car. It gives your doctor a fantastic, broad overview of your health by looking at all the different cells just cruising around in your bloodstream.
To really get a grip on a CBC report, you've got to meet the three main characters, the absolute stars of the show. Right now, in your blood, you have this incredible team of cells working around the clock to keep you going. So, let's meet them. So if you were to break down your blood, this is what it would look like. Most of it is plasma, which is the liquid part. Then you've got a huge chunk of red blood cells, but I want you to look at that tiny 1% slice. That little sliver, that's your white blood cells and your platelets. Now don't let that small number fool you, because as we're about to see, their job is absolutely massive. All right, first up on the team are your red blood cells, the RBCs. Their job is so simple but so vital. They are basically your body's personal oxygen delivery service. They grab oxygen from your lungs and hustle it out to every single part of your body that needs it to function.
Next up, meet your security team, the white blood cells, or WBCs. You can think of these guys as the soldiers of your immune system. Anytime some kind of invader, like a nasty bacteria or a virus, tries to crash the party, this is the army that gets mobilized to go fight it off.
And rounding out our trio, we have the platelets. These are the emergency repair crew. You get a cut, you start to bleed, that's a leak in the system. While the platelets are the ones who get the call, rush to the scene, and literally plug the hole to stop you from bleeding. Pretty cool, huh?
Okay, so let's dive into the nitty-gritty, starting with our oxygen crew. This section of your CBC report is all about how efficiently your body is getting oxygen where it needs to go. And that, as you can imagine, is fundamental to your energy and just feeling good.
So how do these red blood cells actually carry the oxygen? Well, they've got the special protein inside them called hemoglobin. That's the key. Think of the red blood cell as the delivery truck, and hemoglobin is the special little container inside the truck that oxygen molecules perfectly snap into. No hemoglobin, no oxygen delivery.
You know, in medicine, it's all about balance. If your red blood cell count is too low, that's a condition you've probably heard of called anemia. You just don't have enough delivery trucks on the road, which is why you feel tired and weak. But if it's too high, that's called polycythemia. The blood can get too thick, kind of like a traffic jam, which can raise your risk of blood clots.
Okay, don't let all these letters scare you. This is where your doctor gets to play detective. The MCV, MCH, and MCHC, they're just giving more detailed clues. They measure things like the size of your red blood cells and how much hemoglobin is crammed into each one. This helps your doctor figure out not just if you have anemia, but gives them clues as to why.
All right, let's move on to the body's army, your white blood cells. This part of the CBC is all about your immune system. It's the first place a doctor looks to see if your body might be fighting off an infection.
So here's the number you'll see on the report. A normal count is usually somewhere between 4,000 and 11,000. Now, you might be thinking, whoa, that's a really big range. And you'd be right. That's because your body is constantly adjusting its army. Your white blood cell count can change based on stress, exercise, all sorts of things.
So what does it mean when your numbers fall outside that big window? Well, if your count is high, that's called leukocytosis. It usually means your body has sent out a ton of extra soldiers, probably because it's fighting something. If the count is low, or leukopenia, it can mean your immune system is weakened for some reason. And this is where it gets really practical. A super high count often points to a bacterial infection. But on the flip side, some viral infections, dengue is a classic example, can actually make your white blood cell count go down. A low count can also be a side effect of things like chemotherapy.
Last but definitely not least, let's talk about that repair crew, the platelets. Their job is just unbelievably important. I mean, without them, a simple paper cut could be a huge problem. This part of the report is all about your body's incredible ability to patch itself up.
What's really wild is that platelets aren't even complete cells. They're these tiny little fragments floating around. But the moment a blood vessel gets damaged, they get an alert. They become super sticky, and they swarm the injury site to start building a plug.
And the whole process is just so fast and elegant. You get an injury, the platelets get activated and race to the scene. They clump together to make a quick, temporary plug. And that plug is the foundation for a stronger, more stable clot that finally seals the leak. It's just an amazing bit of biological engineering.
And yep, you guessed it, the count here matters a whole lot too. If your platelet count is too low, thrombocytopenia, your body has trouble patching leaks, so you might bruise or bleed really easily. Again, a classic sign of dengue. But if the count is too high, thrombocytosis, you have too many repair crews on standby, and they might start forming clots when and where they're not needed.
Okay, phew. We've met the whole team, we've seen what they do, so let's bring it all home. How do you take all this information and use it wisely when you're looking at your own CBC report? What does this all really mean for you?
Look, if you forget everything else, just try to remember this. It's super simple. Red blood cells are your oxygen carriers. White blood cells are your infection fighters, and platelets are your bleeding stoppers. That's it. That's the core of your CBC report right there.
And now for what is, without a doubt, the most important takeaway of all. I really need you to hear this. This knowledge is to help you understand, not to help you self-diagnose. If you look at your report and see a number that's flagged as high or low, your first move is not to Google it and panic. Your first move is to talk to your doctor. They're the only ones who can see the whole picture.
So I'll leave you with a little piece of homework. Now that you know the team, your RBCs, WBCs, and platelets, the next time you and your doctor are looking at your CBC report together, what's one question you feel ready to ask? What's one thing you're curious about? Think about it.